The following contains graphic and possibly disturbing imagery. Viewer discretion is advised. Over 38 million people evacuated in China as Three Gorges Dam nears collapse. Despite reassurances by the government, residents along China's rivers are increasingly worried that the mitigation capabilities of the Three Gorges Dam might fail after heavy rains lash part of the country. Some 141 people are already missing or dead, and nearly 38 million people have been evacuated since the alerts were triggered in June about the flooding of 433 rivers nationwide. President Xi Jinping is making the greatest effort in rescue and prevention directives. Xi was particularly concerned that the Yangtze River and Poyang Lake, the country's longest river and biggest lake, had risen above warning levels. Authorities in Yangtze, the province through which the Yangtze River flows and which is home to Poyang, raised its flood control response to level 1 on Sunday, the highest of a 4-level emergency response. Torrential rains that typically hit in July and August started in the middle of June this year. Video clips on social media showed rivers overflowing and submerging homes, including a 3-story home in Yangtze that collapsed and was swept away by strong currents on July 5th. Residents in affected areas appeared to be more concerned that the Three Gorges Dam would breach its banks with further downpours, even though authorities had released floodwater from the dam upstream on June 29th. In one video posted by a resident in Wuhan on Friday, Yangtze River's water level had reached over 28 meters, well above the average, even though there had been no rain in the city in recent days. Wuhan is one of the cities in the Yangtze River basin south of the Three Gorges Dam. Dam authorities tried to reassure residents by saying in state media on July 8th that the reservoir could still hold more rain, as it had only reached 149 meters of a maximum 175 meters that it can contain. Like others, Zhang Xiaoping, an activist from Jiangsu, is skeptical. With hindsight, I think all those experts who opposed the buildings of the Three Gorges Dam were right, Zhang said on Radio Free Asia. Since it was built, it has never played a role in preventing floods or droughts like we thought it would back then. Despite protests by residents and environmentalists, the Three Gorges Dam was completed in 2006 after a 12-year build. Millions were displaced as an area of about 600 kilometers was submerged to create the world's largest dam and hydroelectricity facilities. Courtesy of AsiaNikki.com. Spooky footage of dolls moving inside a glass cabinet goes viral.
Gotta be f***ing tripping.
A man from the US was left terrified after noticing his wife's collection of porcelain dolls stored inside a glass cabinet started moving by themselves. If the horror flicks Child's Play and Annabelle have taught fans anything, it's never to keep large dolls in bedrooms or look at them when no one is home. It goes without saying that the spook factor of strange-looking dolls is higher compared to other toys and playable items. So when something strange happens with dolls in real life, the chances are less for it to be filmed on camera. However, a spooky doll incident has been caught on camera recently and shared online for the world to watch and interpret. A man from the US was left terrified after noticing his wife's collection of porcelain dolls stored inside a glass cabinet started moving by themselves. Chad Gassert claims to have seen the dolls moving inside the glass cabinet while being alone in his home in Hamilton, Ohio. To prove it to the world, he even filmed the incident. As seen in the video, the dolls moved in 2 different directions. One doll, positioned next to the others, suddenly leans against the glass. Then the smaller one, in a blue dress, drops its head towards the left. I'm still a little in shock. I went to my bedroom and was looking at the door waiting for the MFer to bust through it. This is the second time this has happened now. Last time it was just a doll that moved, and now a completely different doll is moving and the clothes just fell off the couch. It only happens when I'm here, by myself, Chad said. Chad said that his first paranormal experience with the dolls happened in January, when one of them shifted position from across the room. The footage shared on social media is of the second occurrence. While it's still not sure if the dolls are moving by themselves or being moved by someone, the video has started a debate on social media. Although many viewers agree the video was extremely creepy, some said the dolls were being moved by the help of strings or ropes. We are leaving it open for interpretation.
Gotta be f***ing tripping.
Courtesy of TimesNowNews.com. 5 creepy urban legends that are at least partially true. Murderous medicine cabinets. In 1992, the film Candyman earned its place as one of the scariest movies of all time. One of its most famous scenes involves a murderous spirit with a hook for a hand bursting through the heroine's medicine cabinet. As if that weren't scary enough, the idea that an apartment can be breached through its medicine cabinet isn't just silver screen fiction, and in fact, it did happen. In Chicago in 1987, a woman named Ruthie McCoy was killed by a group of intruders who entered her apartment through a gap in the wall made for the medicine cabinet. The Shabby Grace Abbott housing projects where McCoy lived were built with holes in the walls for medicine cabinets, which provided the only flimsy barrier between the adjacent apartments. While Candyman was mostly based off the short story The Forbidden, the filmmakers also drew inspiration from They Came In Through the Bathroom Mirror, a detailed journalistic account of the murder and the horror of the housing projects. Gators in the sewers. This isn't a single urban legend, but you've no doubt heard at least one cautionary tale about fully grown alligators lurking in city sewers. Some of the more outlandish legends claim that New York City, of all places, has a whole colony of gators living beneath its streets. While this is far from the norm, there have been several real accounts of fully grown gators living in sewers, especially in the southern United States. In states like Florida, where alligators live in the wild, storms and flooding can wash full-size gators into the sewer system, and police officers did pull a 2-foot-long baby gator from a New York City sewer in 2010. But the gator colonies are a pure myth. A full-grown gator couldn't survive a New York City winter. The Dog Boy. This Arkansas-based urban legend about a werewolf-like dog man roaming around the town of Quintman merely embellishes a true tale. In 1954, a boy named Gerald Bettis was born. The rumors around town was that he was cruel and sadistic, and that he liked to capture stray animals and do twisted experiments on them. His cruelty only grew as he got older, and he was abusive to his aging parents. In 1981, his father was found dead in the family home, and his death is surrounded by mystery. The newspapers said it was illness, but many townspeople believe it was a murder. Bettis then kept his mother basically imprisoned in the house until Adult Protective Services placed her in custody. His mother testified against him in court, and he went to prison, where he died in the 1980s. People say that his spirit still haunts the house where he grew up and where his father died. In many versions of the legend, his ghost walks on all fours and is shaggy like a dog, while in others he appears as a towering man wearing a brown jacket and a bow tie. The Alice Killings. The story of the Alice Killings is one of Japan's most famous urban legends, as well as one of its newest. The legend revolves around a series of killings that supposedly occurred between 1999 and 2005. The victims had no relationship to one another, and the killings seemed unrelated in every way, but they shared a haunting similarity. A single playing card was found by each body with the word Alice written in the victim's blood. For an unsubstantiated urban legend, the specifics of these murders are very consistent, right down to the names and grisly details of the murder victims. The uniformity of this legend, as well as its popularity, is most likely thanks to the internet. There is no evidence, however, that these killings took place at all, and whether or not they did is hotly debated. The truth is, though, that there was a serial killer who identified his murders with playing cards, but he operated in Spain, not Japan. Luckily, this playing card killer was apprehended in 2003. Charlie No Face. This 20th century urban legend haunted residents of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The legend had it that a figure with a severely burned face lurked around an abandoned train tunnel at night and made electricity go haywire with his very presence. Curious teenagers would sneak out to the tunnel to try to catch a glimpse of him. Well, it turns out that Charlie No Face was actually a real person, but his name wasn't Charlie. His name was Raymond Robinson, and he had suffered a severe accident involving an electrical line that left him with a disfigured face. Because of this, he became a bit of a recluse, staying inside during the day, only venturing out at night. But he didn't do any haunting. In fact, he was friendly and would occasionally let curious teens take pictures with him in exchange for cigarettes. Courtesy of RD.com. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you hope to. Sleep tight.